Baby, no listen to no fake news, them can't. Could do all it out and them never fake news. Notice say I just be a bad bitch, I get forward from with you. But the one you have to good girl them. Easy. She never did a features, I rate it. Never did a features, half naked. Me never did a piggy or ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. She never did a features, half naked. Never did a features, I rated. Me never did a piggy or ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. I know every girl a white material. I know every girl forget the juice in my seed bag. I know every girl me trust to cook my food, nor boil my tea, not even put the milk in the cereal. Me like a catty when medieval. When what you wash for cook for clean and no fuss. When she hear me get a new girl, I know that me mean when me say me fight me demons. Multiple wife legally, no illegal. Yeah, straight, me go crazy. I know every catty can be my first lady. I know every press plus body done baby plus Tatiana no fit in and no mercy. When me say oh luxury dolly fi nurse baby, a trouble when luxury dolly turn old lady. So big up every girl we don't lazy. Your body big but why your mommy donate it. I rate it. Never did a fi dress half naked. Me never did a fi give her ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. She never did a fi dress half naked. Never did a fi dress I rated. Me never did a piggy or ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. She now wait pan money for reach her and donation. She make reach her man donation. 100 and run, but the waist gal a tell her fi leave her man, but she stay strong. She know say them are no friends, them are haters. Them sleep with every man in the acre. Can't get nobody fi stay long and want the advice for relation. Baby, no listen to no fake news. Them can't keep a man cause them never stay true. Could do all it out and them never pay dues. Never shut them out and them wicked and cruel, eh? Bag a man a rush but them just a get yours. Everything them have them did a fear blows. Instagram live them nude for the views. Baby that I know you though. Sure, I rate it. Never did a pictures half naked. Me never did a piggy or ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. She never did a features half naked. Never did a features I rated. Me never did a piggy or ratings halfway, that's why me give her ratings. One wish. UPK, oh one West. Babylon is falling to rise no more again. Babylon is falling. Freedom is here, my friend, not just part of the nation. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace, him start of the vision. Now put your trust in the riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the nation. Daniel get a vision. Him see the black Christ, it wasn't a white depiction. No allegiance to Rome nor its regions. Come out them religion if you want be a free man. Cause the deacons them full of demons. Same situation with Rasta with Islam. Only beacon of hope for your lean on is UPK and the General YAHANNA. Every fowl of the ear, every beast of the field, every creeping thing we creep on land, every mouth of the clear, loud and clear. Yeah, our shy Mashiach is a black man who have fear, let him hear. Time to prepare, spiritually separate from Babylon. We no weak, we no fear, we no tear. Guns are the mic, but him and are just part of the nation. Yeah, our shy never come bring peace in start of the vision. Now put your trust in the riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. Just part of the nation. Send evils and curses on the whole city and the beasts and all churches. America fall, them deserve it. Rome get defeat, history repeat, I know the first thing. Hey, 400 years they work with, then desert with, then turn round and call we worthless. But now the COVID lurking, them hurting, and then the doctors and nurses. Hey, one day to a building of return after the long journey. No care much money you a earn if you still want Babylon burn. One day table enough to turn. After the long journey, no care much money you are earning. I just start the mission. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace in start of the vision. No put your trust in our riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the mission.
Yay-Z, you know the chop. I.S.U.P.K. Badness no sir. Let me tell you how the badness steer. Dopey bad fly when the Glock display. Tell a boy say no try box this face. Back switch face. You know how your blood clot casket stay boy. You must see one Baptist prayer. When the map stick raise that big straight. Shot misplaced. The key them in your head stop misbehaved. Crack his face. The key never tell us say we lock this place. Which locksmith anyway watch this place. War with them bunny like plastic plate. Hey, we don't play around. When you see the U.P.K around, we bring the fucking AK around. AR-15s and AR rounds. We don't play around. When you see the U.P.K around, we bring the fucking AK around. AR-15s and AR rounds. We no take drape up, we no take beat up, we no stay up. And when the next day come, we no change up. My heart them brothers them wake up. Take care bus boy head top shake up. So tell a pussy hold down violate us. No care where you status, where you take up. Every man a killer till miss a dead face you straight up. Great stuff, one Westling bigger than NATO. Man we bust it to NATO. Only man we afraid that are the creator, the maker. Hey, we don't play around. When you see the U.P.K around, we bring the fucking AK around. AR-15s and AR rounds. We don't play around. When you see the U.P.K around, we bring the fucking AK around. AR-15 and AR rounds. AR-15s and AR rounds. AR-15s and let me tell you how the badness steer. Dopey bad fly when the Glock display. Tell a boy say no try box this face. Back switch face. You know how your blood clot casket stay boy. You must see one Baptist prayer. When the map stick raise that lick straight. Shot misplaced. The teeth them in your head stop misbehaved. Crack his face. The key never tell us say we lock this place. Which locksmith anyway watch this space. War with them bunny like plastic plate. We don't play around.
Hey, what's going on? Shalom, shalom. We're about to get started. Okay, we got no reverb. We're too wild. We're good with the sound. What's going on, YouTube? Yahbashim Yashar Brakthum. All the brothers. And Yahweh Shemal Atham Bashim Yashar, all the sisters. All right, we're live on YouTube. We're not up today on Facebook. Okay, Facebook messing with us a bit. They don't want us sharing articles. Okay, so we're not on Facebook today, but for our regular viewers, make sure you join in with us on YouTube. What's going on TikTok? Okay, we're live on TikTok. About to get started in 1 second. Let's see the volume. All right. TikTok, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Volume should be good. All right. Again, shalom. Yahbashim Shabbat Thumb, all the brothers. Yahshua Thumb, Bashim Yashad, all the sisters. Priest and officer Shariwan under commanding General Yahanna. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Okay. Today is Tuesday night brotherhood class. Okay, that's right, Toronto. We're back up doing the brotherhood class. We're going to be going live every Tuesday from 5 till 7 p.m. All right, make sure you tune in with us. And we got the sign-in links in the chat. Make sure you hit those sign-in links. And most importantly, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Okay? If you have any questions, put your questions in the chat. TikTok, you already know. Post your comments, post your questions. I'll do my best to answer all of them. Okay? And TikTok, try to stay on topic. Okay? Today's class is about gun violence. The solution to gun violence. I'm not sure if I put that in there. I'm still learning to use TikTok. I'm not sure if I put it in the title. But today's class is going to be on gun violence, all right? Solution to gun violence. Solution to crime. We're going to go into some scriptures. And we're going to read through this article. I got an article from CBC that was posted about some more of the violence going on in the Black communities in Toronto. Okay, again, this is I.S.U.P.K. Toronto, I.S.U.P.K. Canada. We try to specifically focus on topics pertaining to Canada, to Toronto. All right, but of course we cover we'll cover any and all topics. All right. So this article specifically was towards a shooting that took place in Jane and Finch. All right. So we're going to get into that. To some of the comments in the chat. Let's see what TikTok's saying. And today, TikTok, if you're a Christian and you're on TikTok, today would be a good day to offer what you believe the solution is to crime, what you believe the solution is to gun violence. Okay, I see somebody in the chat, wisdom and understanding, saying, repent and seek a relationship with Jesus Christ while you have time. So I want to know how repenting and seeking a relationship with Jesus Christ is going to fix gun violence. I'm curious to know how you believe repenting and seeking a relationship with Jesus Christ is going to stop the unaliving of people inside of our communities. Okay, he said, God told me time is running out. Seek a relationship with Jesus Christ while you have time, people. So I would love to know your thoughts, wisdom, and understanding on how repenting and seeking Jesus Christ is going to stop the gun violence in our community. Maybe you're just here to troll and just say a bunch of nonsense and not give people practical solutions to the problems that they face day to day. The King's Kid says, Jesus Christ loves you very much. Yeah, Jesus Christ absolutely loves his people. He came for his people to save his people. Like it says in Matthew 1 and I believe verse 21. He absolutely loves the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. What else do we got? I think those are all the comments so far. So, anybody have any solution to the gun violence? Any Christians? You have solutions to the gun violence in our communities. What is your solution? Put it in the chat, TikTok. All right. For everybody online on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so we can read through this article. And as always, give solutions to our people. Our people being the 12 tribes of the nations of Israel. Our people being who the world identifies as Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. screen. Go right up to the top. Zoom in a little bit. That should be good. All right, so this article from CBC is titled Toronto Neighborhood Progressing, but residents worry bus stop shootings will revive a stigma. And that stigma is the violence that has been going on in Jane and Finch for decades. Okay. Again, TikTok, try to stay on topic tonight. I know a lot of people are just going to jump in and out of the comments. Okay, but I'll still try to answer your questions if I can. All right, McMahon says, what's up with I.S.U.P.K and IUIC? I'm going to ask for a little more of a specific question so that I can give you an answer. But what I will say to that, McMahon, is that the I.S.U.P.K is not affiliated with any other organization on earth. No affiliation with the IUIC. What they do inside of their house, things they teach and practice, we have no affiliation with. Okay? In my understanding, we do not believe the same things. I don't believe they teach the same things. And I would proudly say, humbly say, that the I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth. The I.S.U.P.K is the place that understands the Bible. We are the only place on earth authorized to teach the Bible. And I have no idea where IUIC has gotten their authorization from. All right, so maybe you could ask more of a specific of a question. Cody says, why Hispanics? They white though. Cody, the Hispanics are people who were enslaved, people who were conquered, people who were colonized by the Spanish, by the Spaniards. All right, there were people who some people would identify as being indigenous to the land of Central America, Central and South America, such as people as the Mohegans or the Aztecs. Okay? Those people were colonized, and those are the people who are descended from a man named Jacob, descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why Hispanics are considered the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. That's who they are, that's who they descend from. All right. Don Henson, Shalom, Don Henson. All right, we're going to keep going on with the article. All right, so again, make sure you put your questions in the chat. Try to stay on topic. Okay, again, it's Tuesday night brotherhood class, teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans how to truly love each other, truly treat each other in a place that has lost all morality. Matter of fact, let me get that verse really quick. Let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 18 and verse 2. And it reads, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit. This place in Babylon is a place of every foul spirit. Okay, this place in North and South Central America is a very wicked place. It's a very evil place. And that's why we see so many different atrocities, so many different disgusting things, so many different foul spirits all throughout this place. Okay? And this is why this class, this brotherhood class, is so important, because morality is damn near non-existent in this place. Morality outside of the I.S.U.P.K is non-existent. And I dare anybody to challenge me on that. So in this class, every Tuesday night, we're teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans how to truly treat each other according to God, how to love themselves according to God, how to love themselves according to Christ. The Most High requires of us and his children and how to treat one another, so that we don't have to read about stories like this, where people are being unalived in our communities due to gun violence, whether it be from gangs, whether it be through petty crimes, all these different things that lead to the unaliving of the children of God. These are the things that the I.S.U.P.K has a solution for. Okay? Right? The hand of Judah said to Cody, there's you were to look at, you just look at some of the brothers and sisters in Mexico, and I'm not saying that just because you're melanated that means you're the children of God. There are a lot of dark-skinned so-called Mexicans, right, living in that land of Mexico today. Right? They're living around what would they call it? New Mexico and California, right? Houston, Texas, all those places where the Mexicans in large populate. A lot of our Mexican brothers, our I.S.U.P.K brothers, are very dark-skinned people. Okay. All right, so let's get into this article a bit. Right, again, the title of it is Toronto Neighborhood Progressing, but residents worry bus stop shootings will revive stigma. Okay, and to some of the people who have a little more insight as to what's going on in that community right now, I'll say it like this. There's some rumors saying that this is just circulating because of an ongoing beef between two different neighborhoods, ongoing beef between two different gangs, two different neighborhoods. Okay. And some people might speculate that this shooting took place simply to show the people in that neighborhood that they are not safe. Okay? That the gang members in that neighborhood are not safe. Which is crazy to think what some of these youth and younger brothers and sisters are involved in these days. But gang violence didn't always look like this, at least in the Jane and Finch community, at least in the Toronto community, to where they're just simply unaliving people in the community just to let them know that they are not safe. That it's very easy to find them, very easy to target them whenever they so choose. And so some people are speculating that this was just a message that was sent to some of the gang members in that hood, some of the gang members in that neighborhood, which is so on point to what the title of this is saying from CBC, is that the Toronto neighborhood is worried that this will revive the stigma of their community. And that community doesn't want that. The community of the people in Jane and Finch don't want that stigma of just being full of gun violence, full of being people who are unalived walking down the street, because it affects many people in that community. It affects their day-to-day lives. It affects how they get employment. It affects how they interact with their community day to day. And to the unfortunate ones, you may lose your life just walking down the street in the Jane and Finch area. Right? We're going to go on to read that this one man who was unalived in this area, he was a 40-year-old man just standing at a bus stop. He was a 40-year-old man standing at a bus stop getting ready to go to work. And somebody did a drive-by on this bus stop. Somebody did a drive-by on this bus stop in back-to-back days. One day, I'm not sure if I can say that on TikTok. I don't think TikTok will remove me for this, but there was a 16-year-old boy that was shot. And then the very next day, there was a 40-year-old man that was unalived. Okay, all in the same neighborhood. As we go on to read, I might find out it might be the same bus stop. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see as we read through this article. Right? So some of the comments in the chat, we got hair, oh, you want a lady. Hey, what's going on, sissy? How Shema Thaba Shema Shai? Thank you for tuning in again. Right, we got Saint Vinci in the house. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I just keep struggling pronouncing your name, sis. Please forgive me. The water for tuning in. Shalom, Yahweh Shema Thamba Shema Shai. That means in the Hebrew, may the Most High watch over you in the name of who the world calls Christ. All right, the water for tuning in. So this shooting that took place in the Jane and Finch area was a very unfortunate thing. All right, the water, sis. It's pronounced High Rona. High Rona. No sweat. All right, so again, it's a very unfortunate event that took place. Okay, let's see what we got on YouTube. No comments for now. So let's keep reading in on the article. Okay, it says, for a Toronto community, once notorious for crime and the influence of organized gangs, 2 shootings this month targeting innocent victims at the same spot, less than 24 hours apart, were more than just a chilling outbreak of indiscriminate violence. Okay, so as I said earlier, I was correct. This happened at the same bus stop. Okay, same bus stop, same area, back-to-back shootings. Fortunately, the 16-year-old did not lose their life. Okay, 16-year-old was rushed to the hospital. They were able to save that man's life, save that young brother's life. And the very next day, same bus stop is shot up, and a 40-year-old man is unalived. Okay, which is a very scary thing for the people of that neighborhood. All right, matter of fact, let me get a verse. Let's jump to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 34. I believe it's 34. King said over me. That's not what I want. These nations. So Deuteronomy 28 and 65. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 and 65 says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease. Okay? So now, as we just read, that this was more than just a chilling outbreak of indiscriminate violence. 24 hours, you got people being shot at back to back at the same bus station. Okay, imagine you're a woman who has to go to work, and that's the bus stop that you go to every day to get to work. That's the bus stop that you go to get to your grocery store. That's the bus stop that you send your children to go to school. Okay, where they go to school and come back to school. The Lord said in verse 65, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease. Okay, if you're a sister in the Jane and Finch area, and you're scattered among these different nations, you are not going to find any ease. You are not going to find any rest. You are going to be worried about what happens to you, your family, your children, every day walking through this community. And it's a very sad thing for our people to have to go through. It says in verse 65, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. You understand? Imagine just walking down the street and having no rest. Walking down the street and you're afraid for your life. Walking down the street, you're afraid of what may happen. And that community is right to be scared of the stigma that's going to be brought back to Jane and Finch, because imagine living in this area, reading this article, not even reading this article. But me and my brother were down there just on the weekend, just to see what was going on down there. And they have a very large police presence down there. There's 20 cruisers driving through the neighborhood. Okay. They have the different community centers where you got large gatherings of people. See 30 to 40 people gathered in these community centers, grieving and trying to find solutions as to how to fix the violence in their communities. Matter of fact, tomorrow, Wednesday at 3 o'clock, they're going to be out there marching. They're going to be out there protesting. I think at around 4:30 to 5 in a community center in that area, right beside that bus station, they're going to be gathering with the mayor and the police, the chief of police, to discuss how to really fix the violence in this community. Okay, and this is part of the spirit behind why we're talking about this specifically today, because you better believe the I.S.U.P.K is going to be down there. We've already been down there and we're going there again tomorrow, because we have real solutions. We have a solution to all the gun violence. We don't have a Band-Aid to put on it. We have the solution. Okay, and it's very important in what we do in the I.S.U.P.K to get this word out to every man, woman, and child, every brother and sister, so that they can also learn how to truly treat one another. Okay, this is what we're doing in the I.S.U.P.K. Ghost Hunter says, can I join if I mix Puerto Rican and Black? Ghost Hunter, if you are on your father's side, you identify as being Puerto Rican or Black on your father's side, and his father, you are most likely a descendant from the 12 tribes of Israel. And you are absolutely welcome to all of our classes. You're welcome to our high holy days. Okay, you're welcome to our barbecues, our events. All right, Most High in Christ. Your father's Puerto Rican. You're most likely a descendant from the tribe of Ephraim, according to the Bible. Okay, you should come to these classes and ask questions and learn. Okay, ask questions and learn. And I challenge you, Ghost Hunter, to disprove the things that we teach. Okay. In fact, before I drop that, actually, let me get this for you really quick, Ghost Hunter. This is something very important for our people. Okay. Ghost Hunter, you should write this scripture down. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21. And it says, prove all things. Hold fast that which is good. Okay, Ghost Hunter, you should come to our classes You should ask questions. You should learn. And most importantly, you should prove all things. You understand? Prove who the real priests and prophets are of the Lord. They prove the different things that we say and that we teach in the I.S.U.P.K. Okay, ask questions. Try to battle. You understand? There's something you disagree with, right? Bring forth your evidence. Talk about it. Okay, sit down with your brothers and sisters and really work out what it is that we teach. Okay. Seeker says, "What about me?" Seeker, where is your father? What nation does your father descend from, Seeker? Okay, Ghost Hunter, we got a class right now. Okay, right now you're inside of our Tuesday night brotherhood class. Okay, we got classes every day throughout the week. Okay, every day throughout the week you can tune in, come to class, and ask your questions. Okay, you should check us out on No Cowards Canada on YouTube. All right, Ghost Hunter, check us out on I.S.U.P.K, No Cowards Canada on YouTube. Subscribe to our page and you'll get all the information on the classes and all the events going on. Okay. And what you can also do, Ghost Hunter, is find a class near you. Okay. Depending on where you are, we have a school in Puerto Rico. Okay. If you're in Puerto Rico, we got a school out there. If you're in the States, you're in Canada, you're in the UK, if you're in the Caribbean islands, we got schools all over. Okay, we got a school in Alaska, I.S.U.P.K. Alaska. So you want to find a school near you. You're in Harlem, Most High in Christ. Right, Ghost Hunter, you're right in the thick of it. You're in Harlem, you're in Jerusalem. Okay, we have our headquarters there. Okay, we have a school in Harlem, New York. You should definitely check out their YouTube page, find out their classes, all right? Locate where the school is, okay? Yemen says, why did Jonah get to save non-Hebrews in Nineveh? That has absolutely nothing to do with the title today. Why are you asking that question, Yemen? I assume you're asking that question because you believe God loves white people. And I'm sure you would love to save white people, and that's probably why you're asking the question. Why can't whites join? From Lu Chang. Okay. Because this Bible in this book is for our people. It's for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We are a group that is separate from every other group. Okay, we are separate from every other nation. We are doing something for our people. Okay, so if you want to go join a place, Blue Cham, where they congregate with whites and they are helping whites and all those different things, that's where you should go, Blue Cham. All right, Seeker says his father's from Germany. So Seeker, you would most likely not be an Israelite according to the Bible, according to history, anthropology. You are not a descendant from the 12 tribes of nation, from the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, and you would not be welcome to join in our classes. Lu Cham says, "What's the reason you're not dark complexion? Be careful, boy. The Bible says that Israel is a speckled bird, Lu Cham. Okay, we are all different shades of brown. Okay, we are all different shades. We come in all different flavors. You understand? So skin color has nothing to do with what it is we teach. Most Black in the Americas do, but that's not what determines your nationality. Well, that's why I asked. If it's just for you, what was the purpose for saving other people? So if it's just for you, what was the purpose for saving other people? Yemen, I would just say that you have a fundamentally misunderstanding what the Bible is about. The stories in the Bible are about. And it's leading you to ask questions that don't really make sense. You understand? This Bible, from beginning to end, is about one nation of people. That's the main topic of the book. Okay, it's the historical records of the children of Israel. Okay, where they were living in different times of history. Okay, the different things that they accomplished as a nation, the different times they were in captivity under different nations of people, the Babylonian captivity, the Persian captivity, the Greek captivity. This book, from beginning to end, speaks on the children of Israel and the different things that they face and that they have faced here on earth. And the Most High gave the children of Israel laws, statutes, and commandments to govern themselves as a people. And so throughout, as we read the book, you'll read about men who kept the law. You'll read about women who kept the law. You'll read about men who broke the law and their punishments for that. You'll read about men who kept the law and their rewards for that. And this is what the whole Bible is about. Okay? This book is about the children of Israel. When you get to the New Testament, I think you have about 4 main authors in the New Testament, and all their letters are addressed to the children of Israel. Okay, that is what this whole book is about. Was Job a Hebrew? I believe Job was here before the quote-unquote nation of Israel became a nation. Okay, but when you read the lineage of Abraham, the lineage of Adam down to Isaac, they were a people that were part of the same family. Okay, and through that lineage, the Most High made a covenant with a specific people. Okay, who was one of Isaac's son Jacob, whose name was later turned to Israel. Okay. Luke Cham says, you're stating a lot of false things. What is it that I'm stating that is false? Maybe I need to get in that box. Let me know what I'm stating that is false, Luke Cam. And more importantly, Luke Cam, trying to stay on topic, I would love to know what your solutions are for the gun violence amongst the Black community, if you even care. What's the solution for gun violence amongst people? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Okay. JT Power says Jesus spoke to the Gentiles, and don't misinterpret what Gentiles means. JT Powers, Christ told his disciples to not go in the way of the Gentiles, or to enter any city of Samaria, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Christ spoke to Israelites. He spoke to many people, and his message was for the nation of Israel. So I don't know what you're talking about, JT Powers. Okay, so this topic gaming today is on the solution to gun violence. Okay, the solution to gun violence. I would love to hear a Christian give their solution to gun violence. I would love to hear a Christian give their thoughts and their take on how to solve the problems in this Jane and Finch community, and in many communities across the world that suffer gun violence, heavy gun violence. I would love to hear your solutions. Okay, so we were adding the article, right? Again, it said that this were more than just a chilling outbreak of indiscriminate violence. So we were reading in Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. It says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And this is what blacks face inside of the Jane and Finch community. This is what blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans face amongst their communities, because there are people who live in the ghettos. There are people who live in the barrios. There are people who live in the reservations. There are people who live in the bottom of the societies across the earth, and they suffer gun violence in their communities. They're suffering these different issues amongst these communities. You understand? And so this class is here to give them a solution. They're going through these curses right here. Okay, they're going through these different things day to day. And the people of Jane and Finch are expressing them. Okay, Yemen, you asked a great question. What is your solution? Very simply, Yemen, the solution to gun violence is morality. Okay? The simple way of putting it is morality. And what I'll do, Yemen, is I'll start you off with these verses. Okay, let's go to Matthew. Go to Matthew chapter 22, verse 37. Okay, Yemen, this is a great place to start. And of course, if you get inside I.S.U.P. classes, we'll teach a lot more than just these verses, and we'll give all the solutions to gun violence, all the solutions to crime. And these are things that you will never have to experience if you live this way. Okay, so this is Matthew 22 and verse 37. It says, Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. Okay, amen. So Christ is giving the children of Israel right here the solution to gun violence. And he's telling you the most important thing that you can do as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American man is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Right. And the issue of the Christian church, when they teach this to people, is that they don't understand how to love the Lord thy God. A Christian does not understand what love is. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to love God. And so they never obey this commandment that Christ gave. Okay, Christ said this is the first and great commandment. Verse 39, and the second is like unto it. So what does it mean in verse 39, even when it says, and the second is like unto it? He's saying that this next commandment that I'm going to give you is just like the first. He's telling you this second commandment that I'm going to give you is the same as loving the Lord thy God with all thy heart. And he says in verse 39, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Meaning, how you treat your neighbor and loving your neighbor, treating them with love, is the same thing as loving God with all your heart. It's the same thing. How you treat your brother is how you love God. And loving God is how you love your brother. The problem in the Christian church, Yemen, is that they don't understand what love is. They don't understand how to truly love their brothers. If you're in the Christian church, it's fine for you to be a drug dealer. If you're in the Christian church, it's fine for you to be a drug addict. It's fine for you to do these things in the Christian church because Christians teach you don't have to keep the laws of God. Christian church doesn't teach that you have to love your brother, that you have to love your neighbor. You understand? And this is a big problem in the Christian church. So your next question, Yemen, is, so is it okay for Gentiles to practice gun violence?
That's what.
Yeah, that's a little vague, Yemen. If you could be a little more specific. But I will say that I.S.U.P.K, under Christ, under Commanding General YAHANNA, who is under Christ and who obeys God, we are not for the unaliving of any race of people. No race of people should be going around unaliving each other with guns. You understand? The nation of Israel was here and meant to rule this earth, was here and meant to show the earth how it is that they should act, how it is that they should carry themselves. Okay, it says in the book of Proverbs, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people mourn.
Right.
Meaning, if a righteous nation of people would be in rulership over this earth, the world would be a better place.
Right.
Okay. So, I'm going to keep going in on the article.
Did you respond to when they said, I'm not a Christian, but I'm not sure there's a solution until the Messiah returns?
Oh, I missed that. Oh, that was from Yemen too. Yemen says, I'm not a Christian, but not sure there is a solution until the Messiah returns. Okay? Read it one more time. I'm not sure there's a solution until the Messiah returns. I got you. So you're not sure what the solution to gun violence is. The solution is morality. Okay? It's how we treat one another. And all throughout the Bible, okay, we're given instructions on how to resolve conflict. We're given instructions on how to treat other people. I'll give you an example again. Okay? Christ said that you should do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. So you got to ask yourself, Yemen, would you be okay with somebody driving by in a car, shooting at one of your children and unaliving them? And if you're not okay with that, Yemen, you should never do that to another human being. You should never teach your children to do that to another human being. Right?
So if I could add on to what you were saying, right?
Yeah, good.
For Yemen, who said you're not sure if there's a solution until the Messiah comes. Christ is not returning for a people that can't love each other. He's not returning for a people who cannot follow orders. What would be the point of him returning for a people who aren't trying to get it right?
Absolutely. You understand? You're saying you're not sure if we can get it right till Christ returns. Christ is not coming back to rule some wicked kingdom.
Right.
Christ is coming back to rule a righteous people. People that follow him and obey him. So going on with the article, it says, the shootings that killed a newcomer to Canada, supporting 4 children in Ghana and critically injured a 16-year-old boy, also marked a setback for the neighborhood around Jane Street and Finch Avenue. which community workers and experts say has made progress in addressing its reputation as one of Toronto's most troubled areas. You understand? And this is back to that verse I was reading, right, in Deuteronomy 28 and 65. Let me get back there. Right, and it says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. This is exactly what that community is going through right now. Right? It's exactly what this neighborhood is going through right now. And this is exactly what the Most High said that we would go through. That we would go through by disobeying his laws.
Right.
Right? And this is part of the thing to what we're saying, Amen, is that Israel is meant to live a certain way. We're supposed to be keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. And as we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, the Most High said that we would have rulership, that we would be blessed, that we would live in a land flowing of milk and honey, okay, living where Israel is today, right, which people know today as the so-called Middle East. That land is a place that's very rich in resources. Okay, it's very rich in resources, very rich in wealth. And that land is meant for the children of Israel to live in and to rule this earth. Okay? And as we rule this earth, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, we're never going to see this gun violence. We're not going to see different gangs in our community unaliving each other and shooting at each other, because we'll be keeping the laws of God. For example, it says, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not kill. These are things that you're not allowed to do. You understand? And imagine a place that's truly enforcing all these rules amongst its people. Right? Which is a verse I wanted to get into. If you could, Zubadi, could you grab Deuteronomy 28 and verse 18 for me? Because this is another problem in this community that we have really failed to do. And it really starts with our children.
28 and 18?
21, Deuteronomy 21 and 18. And it really starts with how we raise our children. How we raise our children, they're going to grow up in a community. They're the ones who are going to live there. If they've never been taught morality, if they've never been taught how to treat one another, then the community is going to be full of crime. The community is going to be full of gun violence. It's going to be full of drugs. It's going to be full of wickedness, because we're not raising our children according to God's laws. And this is something the Christian church will never address. We've seen them. They've had over 300 years in North and South Central America to teach our communities how to love one another. And we can see that they've clearly failed us. That the morality that the Christian church has taught our youth has clearly failed our communities. This is why we have the violence that we have. If you could read that for me, brother.
Deuteronomy 21 and 18. If a man have a stubborn son, Salakia. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son.
Right. The Bible says, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, this is what you're supposed to do. The Bible has the answer to what you do with a disobedient child, a disobedient son, the Most High gave us solutions for how to deal with our children. You understand? If you're raising your children according to the morality that the Most High has laid down for us, and your children choose not to obey those rules, there's a way that you deal with these children. And I don't think I have ever heard anything like this outside of the I.S.U.P.K. I have never heard anywhere on earth that this is how you deal with your children. Keep reading.
Which will not obey the voice of his father.
So this is what you do if you have a son that will not obey the voice of his father. You got a 13-year-old son who's going out at night and hanging out with some people that you know you don't want him hanging out with. You're at home and you tell your son, you're not allowed to hang out with those people. I'll tell you who your friends are. I'll tell you how you spend your time and what you do with your time. I'll tell you how to treat people. I'll teach you how to resolve conflict. And if you do not obey me, this is how I'm supposed to deal with you. Keep reading.
Which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother.
Right? Or the voice of his mother. Because the Most High gave us a chain of command, a chain of order. A man has a house, and he is meant to lead his house in a certain way. A man is supposed to lead his house according to Christ. And Christ follows God. This is the order of a household. God gave Christ orders on how it is we are to act. And Christ told the men, this is how you are to act. And he told us to tell our women, our wives, how to raise these children, how it is that we want our households run. And so the Bible is saying that this child is disobedient. He's not listening to the father or the mother. Keep reading.
And that when they have chastised him, will not hearken unto them.
So you're sitting there in your house and you're disciplining your child. You're correcting your child, telling them you cannot act this way. You understand? Christ told us that if you have a problem with your brother, go to him and him alone. So if I have a son and he's at school and he has a problem with another man, another boy, my child has to go to that boy and to him alone. Not to be a gossiping bitch, but to go to that man and him alone. Oh, Salaki. But to go to that boy and him alone and to resolve your issue with that brother. Keep reading.
Verse 19. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city.
Keep reading.
And unto the gate of his place.
So if this child is not listening to you, even after you're correcting him, he's just being stubborn and hard-headed. He wants to live however he wants to live. You take your child and you bring him in front of the entire city. You understand? You're living in the city of Toronto. What should happen to an unruly child is that he should be brought amongst the elders. He should be brought amongst the city. He should be brought out in the public where everybody can shame him, where everybody can deal with him, and everybody can cast a judgment as to what we're doing with this disobedient child. Keep reading.
And bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place. Verse 20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city,
Right.
This our son is stubborn and rebellious.
Right. So we bring him to the elders and we say, this child doesn't listen to anybody. Keep reading.
He will not obey our voice. He is glutton and a drunkard.
Right. He just don't listen. Just unruly. Keep reading.
And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones,
Right.
that he die.
That he be unalive. This is the punishment for a disobedient child. The Christian church would have you believe that you got to let your children can run wild and you just got to keep forgiving them. Just forgive them, and let these kids do whatever it is they want. There's no real punishment for an unruly child, for an unruly son. You got this son who he's going around just fighting everybody. He's going around taking weapons out and just harming people in society, being a menace to society. He's disobedient to his parents. He's rebellious. The Most High said, this is how you deal with this son. This is how you deal with this child. You take him out to the city and you let the city stone your son until he be unalive. Keep reading.
So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
So shalt thou put evil away from among you. Because it's not okay to drive by a bus station and unalive a 16-year-old child. It's not okay to drive by a bus station and unalive a 40-year-old man who's getting on a bus to go to work. The Most High is saying that you got to put evil away from among you. You got to put evil away from among you, and you got to truly raise these kids right. So, you want to say something? No. You got to truly raise these kids right so that we can have safe communities. We can have safe communities. We can have a safe society. And we can all be living in a place that is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. This is how we're supposed to live. You understand? And so after we raise a generation of youth that are truly a moral people, that are truly a law-abiding people, then you're going to have peace amongst the city. You're going to have rules. You're going to have guidelines. You're going to have morality. And we're going to be casting away evil from amongst us. You understand? And this is why Christ said in the New Testament, it's so important as a man comes into the truth that he gets his house in order. You understand? He gets his house in order. He learns what it truly means to follow Christ. He learns what it truly means to battle his own demons, to battle the thoughts that go on in his head. And he's able to conquer and go to war against his own demons and win. As you do that as a man, and you truly change your life, well, now you can be an example to your household. Now you can teach your wives, or if you have one wife or you got 10 wives, if you got 20 wives, now you can teach them how to truly be moral. Right? You can wash them with the word, like it says in the book of Ephesians. You can teach them what it is to be a woman of integrity. And as you teach your wives to be women of integrity, now you can teach your children to be children of integrity. And you can raise them according to the laws of God. This is how you fix a society. Right? DJ Snow, you got DJ Snow? Some comments in the TikTok. I just see Juan says, do you believe in Jesus? We absolutely believe in Jesus. I.S.U.P.K, we follow Christ. We obey him. We do what he says. Right? So, get that verse for you, Juan. To the book of John. John chapter 13, verse 34. Can you read that for me, Zabadia? Okay, because again, this is another excellent verse to solve the gun violence in our communities. Okay, this is John chapter 13, verse 34, and it says, new commandment I give unto you. Oh, sorry. John 13, verse 34. Okay.
John 13:34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
Right. This is what Christ said to the true disciples of Christ. Right? We absolutely believe in Christ. We follow him. We obey him. This is what Christ said that the followers of Christ do. People who truly believe in Christ, this is what they do. He says that ye love one another as I have loved you. Got a question for you, Juan. Right, like Zabadia said, do you believe in Christ? My question for you, Juan, is do you love other people as Christ loved people? Keep reading.
That ye also love one another.
Keep reading.
35. By this shall all men that shall by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
This is how you know if you're a disciple of Christ, Juan. This is how you know who the true disciples of Christ are. If you're reading the Bible for the first time, you should come to class. You should ask questions. Understand? You should ask questions and learn how to truly love your brothers. How do you love people as Christ loved them? Because this is how you know if you truly believe in Christ. You have to love one another as Christ loved one another, as Christ loved other brothers and sisters. And what you're going to learn, Juan, is that Christ was perfect. Christ kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments of this Bible. Christ obeyed his Father. He was an obedient son. You understand? He kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments. So if you're going to be a disciple of Christ, you're truly somebody who follows and believes in Christ, you have to learn how to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. You have to learn how to be perfect. You have to learn how to obey God and obey Christ. Because as Christ said, that's how you know that ye are my disciples. Drop that. Hey, what's going on, sis? Nazama Na, Yahweh Shema, Thumba Shin El Shai. Water for tuning in, sis. So let's keep going in on that article. We had left off Deuteronomy. We went through that. Let's keep going on the article. All right. It says, reputation. So the police have said that gun violence in the Northwest Toronto area was at a 10-year low last year. The minute any type of incident happens, it's almost like all of that work becomes undone. An outreach worker at the Jane and Finch Community and Family Center said this. Jane and Finch emerged as a bustling Toronto neighborhood in the 1960s when a series of high-rise apartments were constructed and immigrant families began moving in, said York University professor who has been studying the intersection and its surrounding community for nearly 2 decades. See if there's anything else in this article. It says, over the following decade, the lack of services and government failure to support low-income families bred social unrest in the area. A sociologist whose work in part specializes in how racism and inequity impact Black communities. And this is something else to understand, right? To Yemen, if you're still watching, you got to truly come into the I.S.U.P.K and learn this Bible, to truly learn what it is to be a people of morality. Because this professor from York University said something here that's also very important. Grab a verse from me. Like iron rusted souls is wickedness. You never trust them. Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. Understand? Because this is another issue in the Jane and Finch community, and this is something that psychologists heavily understand, is that crime rate goes out the roof when you're in a neighborhood that's impoverished. Crime rates go up when you're in a place that's full of poverty. And that Jane and Finch community is a place that is full of poverty. And this is where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans always reside. We always reside in the bottom of societies, the ghettos, the barrios, and the reservations. So as we look at this Jane and Finch community, this was a community where many Blacks were forced to live in and move to because the European communities would not allow them to purchase housing outside of these communities, or they wouldn't approve their rental applications to live in certain communities. Segregation was a big thing inside of Canada, and it started to form many of the communities that we have today. And this is why many low-income families are forced into certain pockets inside of the city. This is why you find many Blacks in that Jane and Finch area. It's because of segregation. It's because of redlining. It's because of the mistreatment of the children of God. And this is part of the issue inside of our communities. You got that verse, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ecclesiastic 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemies.
Right. The Bible says, never trust thine enemy. Something that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans need to understand is that we have enemies here in Canada. We have enemies here in North Central America and all throughout the four corners of this earth. And God told us to never trust our enemy. Keep reading.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
These people that oppress the children of God, they're a very wicked people. You understand? They are a very wicked people, and they have proven that throughout their character over the course of 2,000 years. Over the course of going all the way back to Lamech in the Bible, going all the way back to Cain, going back 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, this race of people have been wicked from their inception. It says in the book of Romans in chapter 13 that the nation of Esau was created for dishonor. This is a very dishonorable people. This is a vessel of dishonor, a people that are full of wickedness. And the Most High told us to never trust these people. Never trust our enemies. And something that these people have done to the children of God, they have committed so many different acts of crimes against us. They force us on these lands where we pay high rents, we pay high taxes, we struggle to pay our bills, we struggle to keep our lights on, we struggle to pay for our food. We have been oppressed here in Canada for hundreds of years. And throughout this poverty that we've faced as a people, with poverty comes crime. With poverty comes the people who are constantly stressed, who are constantly trying to learn and how to figure out how to deal with their day-to-day struggles. There was something that the FBI put out, I think that was last year. They had written in their own article that one of the reasons for gun violence, one of the reasons for mass shootings comes from the media constantly putting out in the news all these different mass shootings. And so what the FBI is basically saying is that one of the reasons for gun violence is because of the media, because of the things that we see on TV, because of the things that we watch in movies, because of the things that we see inside video games. This media plays a heavy part in how our communities function. And I don't know about you, Zabadi, but every time I see a black man on media, it is never a good thing. Our people are always portrayed in a bad light.
Right, but Salaki, if I may, like, between the professor and the FBI, none of them really know what the hell. Like that, I heard them say they can blame the media. Really, it is y'all put the children of Israel in such a heavy oppression, and you're not supposed to be ruling. Like the people ruling right now are not supposed to be in power, right? Why? And I have a verse that I'm going to have you read in a moment, right? They are the people ruling are criminals themselves. If you have a criminal ruling over you, your society is going to be full of criminals, right? I'm not sure if you were done with that precept, but I have a precept to go along with what I just said. Second, let me find it. I want Galatians. It's Galatians 6, I believe.
To one of your questions, Juan, you said denominations. You said one thing I have no idea about is what denominations are good and which aren't.
I'm trying to get him to tell us his nationality.
Okay, come on.
If you could ask him what his nationality.
Yeah, what is your nationality? What do you identify as?
You can proceed with whatever you can say.
I was just going to say to the denominations, you should stay far from the Christian church. According to the Bible, the Christian church is the beginning of all evil. It's the reason for every evil thing going on in this earth. It's called the worshiping of idols, the worshiping of the false god. The Christian church is full of idols. It's full of false gods. Those are the things that we got to stay away from.
Salakia, I got two precepts. Can you get them for me? Can you get Galatians 6 and 7?
Galatians 6 and 7. It's the book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, be not deceived. God is not mocked.
Right. God is not mocked. Everyone's complaining about the criminality, right? Especially oppressors. Oppressors are complaining about the criminality of so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American men that you put through the ringer, right? You're saying we're criminals, we're thugs, we're shooting up the cities and the neighborhoods, right? God is not mocked. You are criminals and thugs and have been unaliving our neighborhoods for years. You've done it for centuries, right? You came into Canada and you didn't. You actually had firearms. You had firearms and you had swords, and you unalived the Native Americans. You unalived the 12 tribes in Canada and forced them onto reservations. In Canada, we have something called the Highway of Tears, where you walk Native Americans from one place to another and force them on reservations so you can get the lands close to the water. Right? God is not mocked. Keep reading, Shaiwan.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
You put criminality into Canada. So now criminality's here.
Right.
What you sow is what you reap. You started with criminality, and criminality's here, and you don't have the answers. They're like the RCMP, the FBI, these scientists at the universities, they don't have the answers at all. Okay. The answers is give commanding General YAHANNA the keys to your city. Right. That's the answer. Give us all the money so we could go and set up these buildings. You have churches that are empty in the city of Toronto. People are sleeping outside of them. Right? You give us the keys to the city. Our brothers and sisters aren't going to be sleeping outside of churches. I was on a phone call with my brother the other day, right? And he let me know. He spoke to one of his friends that are in the federal penitentiary. And his friend said, in the federal penitentiary, a place that's supposed to be about correction, right? That's what they say. You go to jail to be corrected and fixed. He said there's nothing to do here but to smoke weed and make alcohol. How does that correct a man? What does he come out and learn? Right? So I can show you one, if I could, one more. Yep. Can you get Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 2?
Oh, come.
Right? You have a city like Toronto where the mayor was smoking crack cocaine. And now his brother's the premier, and you're wondering why there's criminals in your city? Like, make that make sense. You have a country where they took Native American children, they abducted them, Native American children, and put them in residential schools. They called it the 60 school. You can check I.S.U.P.K Toronto. Check on our latest TikTok videos. You'll see a brother who went through the 60 scoop talking about it and talking about why he began to use drugs, why he began to use illegal substances. It's to cope with the pain of the people who were criminals, who did criminal things to him. You can read.
Put on Khan's book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10 and verse 2. as the judge of the people is himself.
As the judge of the people is himself, meaning the person judging the people, right? He's no different. Keep reading.
So are his officers.
Right. If you have an evil judge, you're going to have evil police officers. Right? If you have evil judges and police officers, the people in this city are going to look at that and say, well, the people above us are evil. The people ruling over us are evil. So we could be evil. We could do sins because the people ruling over us are sinning. Right? Listen, every Black, Hispanic, and Native American kid grows up looking at the oppressor's kingdom and says to themselves, why would I have to follow the law if they use crime to build this great country called Canada? Canada says it's a great country, right, Shaywan? Right? They say it's such a wonderful place. Well, you built it off crime. Keep reading, Shaywan.
And what manner of man the ruler of the city is.
Keep reading.
Such are all they that dwell therein.
Right. That's just saying exactly what I just said. If the people who rule the city are criminals, they said the prime minister. Well, listen, every political office is mismanaging money. It's not just the current prime minister. It's going to be the next prime minister, this premier, the next premier. Everybody in power is misusing funds, and they're going to do criminal things because this government that is over the children of Israel is based off criminality. So when you have criminals over a people, the people are going to act like the criminals that are over them. Thanks be it to Commanding General YAHANNA, we're learning a different way. Give that a hand.
If I could read something, maybe you can touch on this too. This is from the NPF, the National Police Federation of Canada.
Right.
Okay. They say, while Canada has long prided itself as a non-violent, safe, and inclusive country,
good night,
illegal guns and shootings are on the rise, resulting in loss of life and injuries for innocent Canadians and decreased safety in many regions and communities.
So can you read that again one more time just so I can fully understand what they're saying?
Yep. So this is the National Police Federation. And this was a police statement, this was a position statement, I believe from the RCMP on gun violence and public safety in Canada. And so they gave a background, kind of a background to why they believe the different gun violence things go on in the communities. Okay, and so what they had said is, while Canada has long prided itself as a non-violent, safe, and inclusive country, illegal guns and shootings are on the rise, resulting in loss of life and injuries for innocent Canadians. So basically, they're saying, the RCMP is saying that one of the main reasons for gun violence is the use of illegal firearms. And they're saying that even though Canada's always been this safe, inclusive community, gun violence is a problem because of the illegal guns coming into Canada over the border.
When has Canada been inclusive?
Right.
Canada has never been inclusive.
Correct.
You forced the natives onto reservations. Correct. You told Jamaicans they can't come here because it's too cold for them to work. Right? I guess it's only inclusive if your skin looks like Justin Bieber.
Right.
If you look like Justin Bieber, then it's inclusive. Right? Canada is not an inclusive place. Not too long ago, you had law enforcement try to unalive law enforcement out in Niagara or the St. Catharines region. Right? There's a TikTok. If anybody who's watching this on our TikTok, go to I.S.U.P.K Toronto's TikTok page, right? There's a story of a young brother by the name of Devontae Miller. He was aggravatedly assaulted by an off-duty Toronto police officer who was charged and only they dropped the aggravated assault, right? They should have never did that. The brother was assaulted, beat with a lead pipe till he lost an eye. He's now blind in one eye. And the police officer who did it, he only got 9 months in jail when he should have done federal time. He should have been given a deuce plus and gone to the federal pen and 10 years probation.
Nope.
Right? You cannot blame illegal guns for the criminality in Canada. You have to look at yourself, Canada. Look at yourself as the people who are ruling over the children of Israel. You introduced criminality to Canada.
If I could quickly add, because some in the chat said Canada is racist too. Canada, I would argue, is more racist than any place on earth.
Right.
Understand? You look at the history of slavery in Canada. You look at the history of the oppression on the Native Indians inside of Canada. You look at how, organizations such as the KKK thrived in Canada when it would not thrive in America. You had people coming up from the States to Canada so that they could freely be a part of their KKK organizations. And you look at in 2024, it is a fact that these organizations that have moved from the KKK towards radical European groups, they all now live on the internet. And all of these groups, the police are well informed of this, not even just the police in Canada and the people that govern or monitor the internet. It is a known fact that the most of the hate speech, the most amount of channels and community groups that are a part of European extremist groups are all from Canada. All these groups are made from somebody's house living in Northern Ontario, living somewhere in New Brunswick, who's starting groups and starting channels where they can get together and gather and speak over the internet. So all the stuff that was once people meeting inside of a park to light a large cross on fire inside of white robes, they're all now doing that online from somebody's household inside of Canada. I would absolutely argue that Canada is one of the most racist places on earth. You see it in the mistreatment of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous people for over the last 400 years inside of Canada. And not only are they mistreated, the last thing I'll add to that, Shell, is that you'll never hear about it. Canada will never speak about it. They'll never release articles about it. Everything they do in the dark. You understand? It is very hard to learn about the history of the things that go on here in Canada, but the information is absolutely out there. And I would encourage you to look into that, right? So again, kind of piggybacking off this article that says Canada has long prided itself as a non-violent, safe, and inclusive country. That is a damn lie.
That's cat.
That is a damn lie. Right? And as you said, Zabadia, it is absolutely the reason for the gun violence in Canada. It's a reason for all the disgusting things that go on in Canada.
Right.
The people that rule this place are wicked. They are wicked, disgusting people. You understand? And the people that are living under them are following their ways. Right? Matter of fact, let me grab that one verse from me. And I think I'll just answer a couple of comments in the chat. Choose none of his ways. Envy not the oppressor. Understand? This is another solution to gun violence. Proverbs 3 and verse 31. Oh, no, Salakia. Is that 31? Yeah, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Right?
Come, yeah. We're ready.
Come, go ahead.
Proverbs 3:31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Yeah, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you should not envy your oppressor. You have been oppressed in Canada for over 300 years, 400 years in Canada, you understand, and counting. Understand? We've heard about the segregation of black schools inside of Canada. We know about the residential schools in Canada. Understand the mistreatment of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans here in Canada. And the Bible says, envy thou not the oppressor. These people have been oppressing us for hundreds of years. And God is saying, don't envy these people. Don't envy the way they live. Don't envy how they act. Don't envy how they interact with one another. Right? Keep reading.
And choose none of his ways.
And choose none of his ways. The European man in Canada is an absolute criminal.
Right.
Is an absolute criminal. And God is saying, choose none of his ways. Right? Dan Romano says, you all are not oppressed. You do not understand what you are talking about. Darren Romano, that is one of the most ignorant comments you could make. An uneducated comment you could make. You do not understand what is going on to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans inside of Canada in 2024. Talking about oppressed. Canada, what is it? There is a list. I think there's a list of 40 basic human rights. Okay? I don't know if this was the UN. I forget who comes up with or agrees on this thing, but basically defining like first world, third world countries, and so on and so forth. And they have 40 what they call basic human rights, Darren Romano. And out of those 40 basic human rights, the indigenous man, woman, and child inside of Canada does not get like 37 of those rights. They don't have access to clean drinking water. There's so many different things that goes on in those reservations inside of Canada that they do not have access to. And they're damn near considered as a third world country. They do not have basic humanity rights or basic human rights inside of Canada. So to say that blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people are not oppressed, you do not know what you're talking about.
That is the subtle racism that Canada has. That's it. Our sisters, our Native American sisters, go missing on a regular basis, right? All they would have to do to guarantee to find some of these sisters is go into, and I think this is Winnipeg or Edmonton, one of these prairie provinces, right? The Native American community, who we know as the Gadites, are asking for the dumpsters, the dump sites, meaning the garbage landfills, to be excavated. They said it would take too much time. They said it would cost too much money, and it would be so much of a biohazard, right? When you have a prime minister who's giving away billions to a country that's losing a war, right? Canada doesn't want peace. Canada wants to keep provoking the Most High for touching the apple of his eye, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what Canada wants, right? And when black, Hispanics, and Native Americans talk about our oppression in Canada, they say we're not oppressed.
Good.
Like police aren't in Winnipeg aren't giving Native Americans starlight tours.
Right.
As if you don't have major Fortune 500 companies bringing in dope by the tons.
Right. Check this out. This says human rights to water and sanitation. Access to water and sanitation are recognized by the United Nations as human rights, fundamental to everyone's health, dignity, and prosperity. However, billions of people are still living without safely managed water and sanitation. And it's sad. There's stories that you don't even hear about. Like right now, the natives, there's natives fighting the government of Canada not to build a nuclear plant over top of their water supply.
Right.
And so not only do they not have clean drinking water, but Canada is continuing the oppression of these people. continuing the oppression of God's chosen people. So Darren Romano, I would love for you to talk on that. You're saying this little stupid stuff like racial slurs. Nobody gives a damn about a racial slur, Darren Romano. How about having just the basic necessity of life? How about that? You had all black schools, black only schools inside of Canada who had wells and running water inside of their schools that were full of pollution. These schools were closed down because of sanitation. Let's talk about some of these things, Darren Romano. Right? But with that, I'm going to end this. I'm going to shut down this, close this article. I think we've touched enough on that. All right, so again, to YouTube, Thawada, for tuning in. All right, I'll put those sign out links in the chat. Make sure you hit those sign out links. Make sure to sign in and sign out if you're tuned into the classes. Okay. And I think on TikTok, I'll answer a few more comments and then we'll end the class. Okay, if anybody wants to say anything, if anybody has any questions or comments, we've got into a lot today. Again, this is Tuesday night brotherhood class. We're going to be live every Tuesday from 5 till 7 p.m. Okay, make sure you tune in. Is there anything that you want to touch on, Zabadi?
No.
No? Okay.
If there's any questions in
yeah, I think I'll take some things on TikTok. But while we're waiting, YouTube, I'm just putting up the sign out links in the chat, YouTube.
And said, can you prove that we are the original Hebrews?
Absolutely, Dan. Give me 1 second, TikTok, or if you want to take it, Zabadi.
Right, like that is okay. Yes, we can prove it. That is a long, drawn-out explanation, right? What I can tell you is, okay, there's a few things, right? You look at the native written language; it closely resembles the Paleo Hebrew, right? You look at many artifacts found among so-called Native Americans and natives from South America. A lot of their artifacts were Hebrew artifacts, meaning Israelite artifacts. You had, I forget this word, the factility. I forget that word, right? But you had a lot of artifacts that had the shield of David, what many people ignorantly call the Star of David, right?
Yeah.
When explorers came to the Americas, they started to notice that the Native Americans had the same laws as the Israelites, right? Where so-called Native Americans, so-called natives from the Southern Americas, right? They would, when their woman was on their monthly, they would separate them from everyone else, right?
Slag, if I could add.
Okay.
Yeah, the Native Indians have so much history, so many artifacts, so many things that they were doing, ways of life that they were living that correspond to the culture of the Israelites. They have more ways of identifying as being Israel than any other tribe in the Bible, right? Like one of the things, Zabadi, you were saying is when Christopher Columbus came over to Florida, he had brought with him Hebrew interpreters. And one of the things that their interpreters recognized when he came over here is that the natives, one of the first people that they made contact with, there was a native sister that they were going back and forth with, and like he couldn't understand what she was saying. And then something that he heard the native sister say was Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh Elohim Yahweh Akkad, which means the Lord thy God is one God. the native sister was speaking the what is it called, the Shema? They call it the Shema, right? But basically, she was quoting Deuteronomy 6, right? Deuteronomy 6 saying, "The Lord thy God is one Lord," and the interpreter understood what it is that she was saying. You understand? And so it was all throughout native culture to practice so many different ways of the Israelites.
Right. One of them, Salaki, if I could, one of them, when so-called natives, indigenous people would go into battle, they would carry an ark with them, similar to what we did when we would go into battle with under Moses and under Joseph. Right? Who's it, Joseph? Joshua, Salakia. Under Joshua, right? There's so many things we could bring out to prove that natives are the Israelites, right? Outside of the other things we could prove, just look at their condition in the earth, and then read what would happen to the Israelites, and you'll see that it matches to a T the condition of the curses that the Israelites would go through, right? Outside of that, there is a interview that's on Cross the Line, a lecture that's on Cross the Line Radio that Captain Katazar did, right? It's about a 3-hour lecture, right? If you are really intrigued or you really want to know if we could prove it, and you're not just talking on the internet, because everybody gets behind a phone or a keyboard and types, right? If you're not just typing on the internet, you could go watch the 3-hour lecture that Captain Katazar did, right? Called the 12 Tribe Breakdown. You can find it on Cross the Line Radio, right? It proves that so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, so-called Latinos are the children of God.
Right. Right. If I could add one more thing, because he says, what did he say? He said, "There's nothing in Native American history that I've studied that has that." Check Darren Romano. Just check out, for example, things like the Lost Luna stone or the Decalogue stones. Okay, I think these things were found in Ohio. Okay, again, there's so much archaeology that you can dig up and find amongst the natives. Right, Darren Romano, even down to the fringes. Good night.
Right.
Like you see the natives going around. Just look at a powwow, Darren Romano. Look at the fringes that they have all over their clothing. They got fringes with borders of blue. That is straight from our culture.
Right.
Right. But check out the Los Lunas Decalogue stone. Okay, for you to say that you have found nothing, there is so many things amongst the native Indians, right? Who we know today are the children of Gad and the Seminole Indians, or Salakia, and the tribe of Reuben. The children of Gad, Reuben, the tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Issachar, okay, the tribe of Ephraim.
Even
there's another one. I said Reuben. Yeah, Reuben, the tribe of Issachar. Those two tribes have so much history found over in North and South Central America. Reuben, Gad, Issachar, those 3 tribes right there, they have a lot of history. Okay, so for you to say that you have found nothing, there's a lot of things that you're not studying. Right? There's a book that you should get, Darren Romano. Let me see that book. Do a quick plug for Cap Katazar. Check this out, Dan Romano. You can look this up on Amazon. Oh, I can't show it? Oh, come on. Oh, there we go.
wait 1 second, Shari. I don't know what to do.
See, check this book out there, man.
Bring me up on stage.
It doesn't work too well. I can't really see it because of the blue screen or the green screen.
Yeah, if you bring me up on stage, I'll do it.
Come on. There we go. You want some history there, Hermano. There's so much history out there, right? Like one of the things Zabadi was saying, you can check out, you'll see artifacts in the Mohegans, the native Mohegans. They got artifacts where they straight up got the shield of David as earrings in their ears.
Salakia, if I could.
Right.
Dan, if you look at this book is called Reuben My Excellence, right?
Yeah, there you go.
It's by Captain Katazar, right? I see you saying you want information from us, but we're giving you the information. Unless you're just typing just to type and you don't really care about the information, right? This is one book that talks about the natives of America being
Right.
Israelites, right? I'll give you a second one.
Yep.
This is a book about the so-called Mexicans, proving that they're Israelites. And we know that Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, and so-called Native Americans are the same people. They were all over here until the Caucasians came.
He's saying this is all fabricated.
Right. So you don't really care. I would just stop responding to him. You don't really care. That lets us know you don't care. You are probably trolling. You're probably not Native American and just a Caucasian man in the comments.
I do care. I'm testing you through the Bible.
Then I'll give you one more. Shariwan, can you get Genesis 49?
Yeah.
Right? So in Genesis 49, Jacob, who is the progenitor of Israel, the father of the 12 tribes, he brought his sons in his last days and gave them all prophecy about what was going to befall them. Right? So get Genesis 49 and 19.
Okay. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 49, and verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
Right. So this is talking about the so-called Native Americans of Canada and Northern America, right? Meaning like the upper states of America, right? Out as well as out west, as well as the east and the what do they call the Midwest America, right? So-called Native Indians, right? A troop shall overcome him, right? Gad, the name Gad means a troop cometh, meaning he is like a warlike tribe, right? So much so when look at all the American weapons out of the army. They're all named after something Native American. The Apache helicopter, right? So much so Native Americans helped America in World War II with the coding. They came up with a code that no oppressor, no Caucasian man could break. That's because Gad means a troop cometh. He's a warlike tribe, right? Keep reading, Shariwan.
But he shall overcome at the last.
Read it one more time.
Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
There was the oppressor. This prophecy is that Jacob is giving Gad, is letting him know there's going to come a time when someone's going to overcome you. There's going to come a time when you're put into captivity, right? There's going to come a time where you're going to go to war with a people and they're going to overcome you. That is what happened to the so-called Native Americans in Canada, in the United States. They tried to fight, right? They tried to stand up to the oppressors. It did not work out. Keep reading, Shariwan.
But he shall overcome at the last.
Right. In the last days, you're going to see Native Americans start to stand up. Look at so-called indigenous people right now, the First Nation. totally destroyed. You go downtown Queen Street, Queen and Bathurst, Queen and Dundas, Spadina and Bloor, and you see them strung out, living a horrible lifestyle. You go to Montreal, you see them in Atwater Metro. They're now kicked out of Atwater Metro, but they're sleeping in the park. They're sleeping under the bridges. Totally destroyed. But at last, can you read that again, Sharyuan?
But he shall overcome at the last.
In the last days, Gad is going to stand up. And you see Sabawan. You see Captain Soccer War. You see Salakia for any brother that I've missed in Salakia for the rank and order, right? But you see the men in the I.S.U.P.K, so-called Gadites, standing up. Even right now, Gadites in the world, so-called Native Americans in the world, you have some of them that are actually starting to stand up. They're not falling to the vices and the devices of the oppressor, who's the devil the Bible speaks of. They're not falling for it no more. They're starting to stand up. They're demanding their land back. They're saying, we want land back. There's a whole movement called the Land Back Movement. They want it back. They're going into Yonge and Dundas Square in Toronto and protesting. That's the video that's on our page. It's one of the first 3 videos that you see on this TikTok page. They're in Yonge and Dundas in the downtown core protesting, stopping traffic because, read it again, Sharyuan.
But he shall overcome at the last.
Right. They're starting to stand up. In the last days, in the last of Esau's kingdom, you're going to see Gad overcome. He's going to start to stand up and fight. So you're trying to disprove that the Gadites are Native Americans because you're more than likely some Caucasian. You're more than likely some Edomite who says he's a Gadite, but his father's from Ireland. His father's from Europe. He just wanted to. You're more than likely one of them Edomites who went to jail, right? You probably been to Penetangwisheen. You probably been to one of these jails and said you're Native Americans just so you could go smudge and inhale some tobacco into your lungs. Salakia.
That's heavy. Understand? I think that's something that, right, like especially when you go in the scriptures, right, there's a certain thing that people understand, when it comes to the spiritual side of things. When it comes to understanding the Bible, right? Like, I remember the first time somebody told me about the children of God and how that they were overcome.
Yeah.
And I could just see it on those reservations. I could see it in the indigenous brothers and sisters. They just look like such a defeated people.
Right.
You know what I mean? You really see them as this conquered people, right? It's almost like the depression is really deep or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they've really been overcome. Their pride was really destroyed.
Right.
You understand? And so the tribe of Gad really took a hit. Right? You really see that.
Right.
You understand?
And he's standing up. Salakia,
Sharyuan.
If I could respond to a few more comments, right? This Dan, we know what's going on now. I finally figured it out. Dan, you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Dan, you're just a Christian and you're trying to battle the I.S.U.P.K because you have Caucasian Jesus in your heart and in your mind, and you're deep in love with Caucasity.
Wow.
You're deep in love with Caucasianism. You're deep in love with the effeminate picture of Caucasian Jesus.
Yep.
Right? Because you said Esau has been wiped out for 2,000 years ago. Show me where it says Esau was wiped out 2,000 years ago in the Bible. Since you know so much about the Bible, Dan. Or Darren. I keep calling you Dan. Darren. 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 Yeah,
Darren come against the UPK?
Darren, you are just a Christian. Sorry, Juan. Can you get 2 Ezra 6 and 9?
Salakia.
Right. I figured it out. You're a Christian at heart.
This is the book, Salakia, verse 9.
Salakia, Dan. The Romans called themselves Edom. The Greeks called them Idumea. Who are the Romans? Caucasian people. Caucasian people are still here, Dan. What are you talking about? You look at Canada. Canada celebrates New Year's on the 31st. Who celebrated a new year on the 31st? The Romans. The Romans called themselves Idumea. They printed coins that said Idumea. Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom, Darren. Did you know that? We know you have Caucasian in your bloodline. I already knew that. You didn't have to tell me. See, what you're dealing with here is priest and prophet of the Lord. I knew from how you were speaking. Once you said Esau was wiped out, I knew this is a Christian at heart. He is a full-blown Christian. Yeah. Right? You can read it. And then we're done with it.
Let's look at 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world, meaning we're in the last days right now. Esau's ruining this great and beautiful work of art that Christ commanded the angels to build. God told Christ to go build something. Christ told the angels to go do it, and they built this earth. It's such a beautiful place. Have you seen the sunset in the clouds when the skies turn to a beautiful color? Right? You look at fall when fall's about to happen, the leaves are a bunch of oranges and hazel and brown, and it's just such a beautiful thing. Esau has destroyed it. The waters were crystal blue. We had orcas, killer whales. You're putting oil in the water. The orcas are going crazy and washing up on beaches. The birds are falling from the sky. The fish are just washing up on the Lake Erie. Lake Erie is a dead lake. Esau is destroying it. The ice caps are melting. Esau is the end of this world. He's destroying this world. His kingdom is coming to an end. But then there's going to be a new world led by a black man by who the world is Christ.
How much y'all knows who Dan is.
Right? So Barack definitely knows who Dan is. Barack be dealing with them. Like when they come, listen, when Barack gets on this TikTok, all of them come out and they try to battle him left, right, and center. Barack just be cutting them. Right? But Esau is the end of the world, Darren. Darren, you are the end of the world. This kingdom. Sure, you want to keep reading?
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
The so-called Native Americans are going to have rulership in the next kingdom. So-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, who are the son of Jacob, are going to have rulership in the next kingdom.
And it's crazy because these Christians say we're in the last days. You understand? I don't even know how much to go back and forth with Dan. I think we're done with them.
Yeah, I would.
But these Christians over here, like, yeah, we in the last days. Well, the Bible says in the last days, Esau is the end of the world. That's it.
Right.
So how is Esau going to be destroyed 2,000 years ago? That would contradict the Bible, Darren. But it's no sweat because Christians have never understood the Bible.
Dan, here's another one. Esau is a vagabond, a person that goes and just takes cultures. Who's the last samurai, Dan?
Don't sweat. So that YouTube and the class, YAHANNA to all the brothers, all the sisters. Make sure you hit those sign-in links and the sign-out links. Okay, for the water for tuning in.